Question Time host Fiona Bruce has been forced to apologise after referring to an audience member as the black guy. Is it true or is it false?
I thought she was supposed to be awoke. I tell you what, though, in all seriousness, that probably is true. But what about apologising to the 250,000 Jewish people and all the right-thinking people in this country for using the term militant rather than terrorist about Hamas after the recent killing, kidnapping of women, children and babies? It seems the only thing... What do you have to do to be called a terrorist on the BBC? Maybe be a Brexiteer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Maybe if you're a Brexiteer. But, it is funny, though.
It's bad, isn't it, that the BBC just seem to have all their priorities completely wrong?
Well, no, yeah, absolutely. Like, there's a big hoo-ha about this, potentially, if it's true, but yet nobody cares about, about terrorist organisations being given legitimacy by our national broadcaster that we are forced to pay for with our taxes.
Yeah, James, I mean, it is funny the way that they're very upset and exercised about the idea of calling somebody a black guy, but they're not too bothered about calling genuine terrorist militants.
Well, that is because the BBC have had their time. And if somebody doesn't actually start saying, the BBC, you are useless now, then they're going to be here forevermore. They are so concerned about not offending people. The only people they don't offend are the good people. I think they offend everybody, to be quite honest. Fiona Bruce did call this chap a black guy. That's completely true. And he was a black guy. So what would you...
Yes, it's actually quite descriptive.
If somebody called me a white guy, would then there be a huge fuss about it?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe there would be. I mean, Pete, I find the whole thing confusing because you don't know what to say. And then also there's some terminology that used to be used, which now if you use, you'll be absolutely castigated.
Like of colour.
Yeah.
I am fed up with this I've got a headache. Fed up with this stupid woke stuff. One day you can be called something, the next day you can't be. Yeah. One day it's okay to say this word, one day it's not. That's the thing
I find quite interesting about that, because as far as I know, the chap didn't complain. Yeah. This is the BBC apologising for something that nobody, as far as I know, actually got offended by.
Yeah.
What I was most staggered about was the fact people still watch Question Time. Like, that's the thing. I remember, like, back in the day, it was like the flagship programme. It really was. Like, if you had a good performance on there as a politician, you could climb up the ranks of the parties pretty easily. But now, I don't know any actual real politico who works in Westminster that bothers with that show anymore. And it's like Newsnight. It's all of the BBC programmes that are just turning people off. And I don't know anyone that watches.
They're all left wing.
They goad you into saying something that they find offensive. They're going to clip it for social media.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, James would be drummed out because he just say you're an idiot. You're
The problem is, I've never seen a sensible question.
No.
I've never seen anybody from the audience ask a sensible question, and most of the people who are on their panels are very guarded.
Yeah, they are.
So Pete, if you appeared on Strictly Come Dancing... No, come on, let's do the Question Time lame, jokey questions.
Oh, what, the end one, the last one,
Pete, if you appeared on I'm a Celebrity, who would you take with you?
No, but I've actually been in the audience for Question Time, and I do find it interesting.
12 times.
No, not that many. I didn't enjoy it that much, but I do find it interesting, the whole interview process and the way that they kind of put it together. I did find it interesting, but like you said, the questions are some people come up with. And I also happened to notice there's a lot of nurses in the... A lot of people that work for the NHS, a lot of nurses in the audience. I always find that interesting.
The other thing is, in the warm-up, right, they go, anyone can, Dimbleby, or now Fiona Bruce, Dimbleby used to go, can anybody ask me a question? And somebody goes, where'd you get your time? Every time somebody has that.
Yeah, but at least Dimbleby had a bit of gravitas. I mean, Fiona
I like
Bruce.
Fiona Bruce.
I like Fiona Bruce too. Don't be so sexy.
I don't. She's ruined the Antiques Roadshow for me as well.
It's great.
Right, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. We're not having a debate on the Antiques Roadshow. I've told you. It was like that week when we debated cooking. Right, we're not doing it.
You like food.
I like eating it, not producing it. OK, so is Fiona Bruce in trouble for calling somebody a black guy? Is it true or is it false?
I would say it's true.
It's absolutely true! The Labour Party has said it wants to introduce supervised toothbrushing in schools. Is it true or is it false?
And one of the biggest problems we have today is that there is no discipline. I sound like a real old fart, don't I? There is no discipline. And so if a kid says, yeah, I'm going out and I'm carrying my knife or whatever, mum and dad said, oh, no, we go. They don't. They just said, well, we don't want...
And
there is no discipline.
I've got to be honest with you. I do see a link in between lack of standards in schools and danger on the streets.
Yeah,
How on earth can you be allowed to get up in school and say you're the teacher and I'm the pupil, and I say, oh, I'm sorry, Andre, but I think you're a big bastard and I'm not going to do anything you say. I'm going out. I'm leaving now. What would you do to stop me?
Well, I couldn't drag you by the hair back in, could I?
maybe 50, 60 years ago you could, but you can't. A kid
James,
gets up and walks out of a classroom, he's allowed or she is allowed to do it.
But James, I'll tell you the other thing that really worries me. People talk about in the old days when a police officer would just take you back to your parents.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays, they take you to the police station, you get a criminal record. Admittedly, that's wiped at 18. But that debunks people's fear of the criminal justice system. So consequently, somebody gets caught for a minor misdemeanor. They've now been criminalised. They're now in the system, and that's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Well, I think this is a really serious point. And I think the problem we have now is a lot of kids are just not... A lot of single-parent families... A lot of kids just go feral.
Yeah.
Or was it feral?
Feral.
Yeah, thank you. And they have no interest at all in being part of a society. None at all.
I think you're right. The one thing that has always concerned me is this growing narrative that I've seen it a lot. I like Stella Creasy, the Labour MP, always does this one, where somehow parents, they're kind of letting them off the leash, as it were. Like, they're not really holding parents accountable for being bad parents. And we don't call bad parents bad
Pete,
parents.
sorry to interrupt, but increasingly, this whole concept of the state taking charge, it exists.
Yeah.
So you know, I always say it started with the Children's Act under Tony Blair,
Yeah.
where
It really
effectively the state was the final arbiter of what would happen with your children, not you, which I find absolutely despicable. But nowadays, it's like, I can't get my kid to brush his teeth. Don't worry, the teachers will step in.
And also,
Oh,
just
come on.
sorry to interrupt, Lois,
That's
but
all right.
I've got a lot of friends of mine who are teachers, and like their workload is big enough as it is, you know, particularly at primary school and all the rest of it.
I saw something the other day, and this guy said it's all about the kids, it's all about their rights, but they take no responsibility. All rights, no responsibility. And I thought that's very, very apt. You know, what can everyone do for me? And you know, I also saw in the same interview the same guy say, you know, basically, if you're a parent, you can't get a kid to brush their teeth. You really should want, you know, you really shouldn't be a parent, you know.
Also, just butt in, because there's a really important point here that I think we're missing. And that is that kids now complain regularly. I don't want to sound too... Anyway, there's mental health issues everywhere. Well, when I was younger, we didn't have... And today, life is surely so much easier. You've got a mobile phone, a computer, the internet, everything going.
Maybe there's a correlation between that.
Maybe.
People got too much time
You know,
to worry.
you know,
about stuff.
People's mental health has declined since iPlayer launched.
Yeah.
I think we've just got to bear that in mind.
If you say, I'm feeling really stressed, my mental health is being affected. Whereas before somebody might have said, well, you're just a lazy so-and-so. Just pull yourself together and get on with it. Now, even in schools, I believe, they have rooms where you can go and chill out if you're getting a little...
No, my favourite is when people go, I'm going through a period of demotivation at the moment. you lazy git. Or the other one...
Yeah, that's being raised in the north. That's what that is.
The other one I've said before, I used to get the House of Commons all the time. I can't work, I've got a thyroid problem. You haven't got a thyroid problem. You're just a fat lazy git. That's what you are.
Stop eating!
Get moving.
This is a problem. This is, you know, we laugh about
I
it,
had a
and
friend,
that's good.
James, I had a friend who's a doctor who met somebody who wanted to go into rehab for being a pizza addict. Right? Pizza addict. And he said, my mate goes, you're just fat and lazy. Get to work. Anyway.
You can't anymore. You can't tell somebody off. I mean, if you went and shouted at somebody doing this show, they'd be straight off to HR.
Oh, no.
They?
So has the Labour Party said that toothbrushing should be mandatory in schools? True or false?
True.
It's absolutely true.
I knew watching the news would actually work.
Okay, so to
That's
Pete,
my thing.
so to Pete Barnes.
Yes.
Boris Johnson's ex-wife has been hired by the Labour Party to become their new sexual harassment advisor.
Oh, good Lord.
She might be qualified. I don't know what we can say legally.
No.
If the phone rings, that will be legal.
I'm going to say, I'll tread this one very carefully. I presume this is why I was given that
How
question.
many X's, by the way, back then?
I don't
About 400,000.
Yeah.
But no, so this is the thing. So I don't think this is true. But Carrie Simmons, or Carrie Johnson as she is now, I can't help but draw a parallel with how the media treats her, well, particularly the right-wing media, and how people treat Meghan Markle. Because I remember a little while ago when there was all this kind of net zero stuff was kind of really getting on the scene. And Boris Johnson was still Prime Minister. And it was like, oh, it's Carrie pushing Boris into this, and it's Carrie manipulating him and all the rest of it. And I can't help but draw a parallel between that and Meghan Markle. But what I will say is that Carrie is a political animal in her own right. She worked in PR, she worked at CCHQ, so she was always going to get involved, probably more than any other Prime Minister's wife. But no, I don't think this is true. But I did read the other day, I think actually it might have been a Monday, that they bought a farm up near Jeremy Clarkson's place. Yeah, about £3.8 million farmland.
An Amazon deal.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that documentary.
I would watch that.
That one I would watch.
I think Boris Johnson got slagged off over Carrie Simmons, but it has to be said, I think there's a lot of people watching and listening who will relate to this, marrying somebody and then needing to borrow money from friends to pay for new wallpaper. Right?
Oh, you look at me.
I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I think
this is the ex-wife, by the way.
If it is true, then she'll the first thing she'll have to do is tell Keir Starmer what a woman is.
Yeah. That's true.
He struggled with what a woman was.
Oh,
wasn't he?
God.
I wonder what Keir Starmer's wife's like.
Yeah. I actually don't know much about his wife.
Boris Johnson's ex-wife, is she now a sexual harassment advisor for the Labour Party?
I don't think she is. I'm going to go false.
It's absolutely true!
No way.
So what's the scores, Woke Wabbit? Okay, what have you been up to this week, Woke Wabbit?
I've been worrying about my finances, man. I'm broke. I went woke. I'm now broke. Dale Vince has stopped funding us. I'm freaking out.
Hang on a minute. You mean the taxpayers stopped funding you because they fund Dale Vince? So yeah.
Well, I don't care who funds me. I just want the money. I'm going to have to get a real job now.
Oh.
What will you do as your real job?
I was going to be a probably one of those diversity officers in the NHS.
We've done that. We've done that. Anyway,
How can anybody from Just Stop Oil make any complaint at all? They're a bunch of bozos.
Absolutely.
by the way,
Really
I think that was made with oil.
Yeah. It would have been.
Well,
Get out.
Get out.
Okay, Woke Wabbit's not going to give the scores. I'll give everybody 2 points in. Okay. So to Lois, the NHS has banned anaesthetic gas in an attempt to meet net zero targets. Is it true or is it false?
Really? You know what? The net zero stuff is so preposterous and is used as an excuse for so many things that wouldn't surprise me at all. Any cutback, anyone just not wanting to do anything whatsoever. Net zero. So, yeah.
I'd be surprised if you could actually get into the NHS to have an appointment in order to be refused.
You know my situation. That basically they said to me that my condition was life-threatening. However, I'd have to be 24 hours away from death in A&E for them to do this operation. So I've had to pay for it. So,
James, we know that you've had some well-documented medical issues. What about this whole idea that the NHS is leaving things to the last minute?
Did you say mental issue?
I don't know.
It's ridiculous. And as I think I've said many times, I have the greatest respect for the doctors, the nurses, the clinicians who are struggling in an organisation that's run by a bunch of, I can't really say, but the last word was going to be wits. And
Duckwits.
Duckwits. Yeah. I had no idea how it's been allowed to get like this. And a lot of discussions at the moment. It needs completely changing. I think everybody that used to love the NHS, we all do. Everybody should be able to get free health treatment when they need it and not worry about the money.
I think this kind of shows that that net zero, there are people that just believe in net zero at all costs. Yeah. And like, despite even any type of debate or whatever, they're not interested in it. They just say everything is net zero. And I go back to
Sorry, Pete, can I interrupt you, right? I'm just going to show people this sheet. It doesn't actually say whether these are true or false. Are you telling me that this is actually true?
This is true. This is
true. Where's my question?
No, I'm sorry. Right, that can't possibly be true.
No, it is. It's 100% true.
The
And it-
NHS want to ban.
no, 40
anaesthetic.
NHS trusts have already banned it.
Do you think that the NHS has banned anaesthetic gas on the grounds of net zero? Is it true or false?
Well, Pete's told me it's true, and he is the oracle, so yeah, true.
It's absolutely true!
That is appalling.
It is appalling.
I can't, you know, there's moments when I leave this studio at the end just depressed. Right?
Well, I can't believe the Carrie one. I'm surprised about that.
No, it
as
wasn't
well.
Carrie,
No,
it was,
no,
it
no,
was
it
the
wasn't.
ex-wife.
Oh, the other one.
The other one.
Oh,
All right.
the other one.
All right.
Back
So
on
on
track.
now, as we pick ourselves up in the studio, it's James's question.
Oh, God.
Suella Braverman is in trouble for standing on a guide dog at Conservative Party conference. Is it true or is it false?
Here we are living on the, apparently, according to Nostradamus, 2023 November, that's it. So we're not far off
Well, I'm
now,
going to
are
say
we?
we're not far off, given
So-
everything that's going on.
Does it make it, James?
Really?
On a serious note, I was listening to Nigel Farage, and look, honestly, I'm still a Conservative Party member, right? So I will admit that. I know you're not particularly party political, but I am. But look, you know, Nigel Farage has now just said, look, Labour and the Conservatives are just the same when it comes to
Very,
immigration,
very
when it
right.
comes to a lot of this Europe stuff, and actually, it won't matter who wins the next election.
He was a superstar at the conference. I just have to say.
Why can't, if I was in charge now, and that would be a terrible thing for all of you,
Oh, I'm not so sure,
I
James.
think it'd be
if I
great.
was in charge now, we would have the Royal Navy in the Channel. Nobody would be coming into this country. We would also be looking at the legal migration into this country, which has gone, what, more than nearly 1 million?
Yeah, it's
Something
well
like that.
over that.
What would you do about the Hamas supporting, you know, celebrations? They weren't protests.
Lock them up.
Good.
Lock them up.
I've got to say, I'm going to take a hard line with this. The Conservative government brought in this rule where if you are an immigrant to this country or you have dual nationality and you support terrorism, that the British nationality can be stripped from you
Yeah.
and you get deported.
Yeah.
As far as I'm
Like
concerned, the
Shamima.
people outside the Israeli embassy
Yeah.
are cock a hoop about the murder of all these people, strip them of citizenship and
Civilians.
get them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can anybody, you know, if you've seen any of the videos, which have been heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, how can anybody say that is justifiable?
No,
How can anybody? You even had a bunch of people celebrating gay rights for Palestine or
Yeah,
something.
queers for Palestine.
There are no gay rights in
No, that's right.
Palestine.
Turkey's voting
Voting
for
for
Christmas,
Christmas. Yeah,
literally,
that's
isn't it?
You know,
It's interesting.
Are they so thick?
But
Yeah.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
But they've got a woke checklist, haven't
Yeah,
they?
that's
And that includes gay rights, free Palestine.
I think
all of that.
the reality, though, Pete, with a lot of these people, we've slightly diverted away from Suella Braverman, but the problem is they just believe in uncontrolled immigration from anybody, from anywhere, wherever. And I think it's because they hate Britain.
I think there's definitely an argument, and I'll bring it back to the question, because in Suella Braverman's speech to the Conservative Party conference, she talked about a
You
horrific...
heard woof, woof, woof.
Well, no, she used it.
I had
she
a
used the
headache.
word-
It's getting worse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she used the word hurricane to describe like this mass influx, and I just think, do you know, if all these people that get so annoyed about the language that people use around immigration actually used that energy and came up with a workable plan to fix immigration, I think none of this would be a problem. These people spend more time complaining about language choices and dog whistle politics, which is the biggest load of nonsense because it's not dog whistle. She got up there and said it.
Did the dog whistle?
No,
I actually know about the
sweet.
dog bit of this question. If anybody
we're not-
wants
we-
No,
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 we
no,
can't.
don't answer his question as well.
You can't answer every question. I'll tell you what I loved about the previous question was no matter how many times we've ran the true thing or the phone rang, Pete just soldiered on.
Hang on.
That's very admirable.
He
that.
got a question wrong, though.
yeah.
I've got to be honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, James, what we should be saying to all of Britain's enemies, to Vladimir Putin and whatever, forget your battleships, forget your aircraft carriers, just get a dinghy. If you want to make it to Kent, all you have to do, forget the landing vehicles, just a couple of dinghies, you'll be sorted. Because we have sat there for years saying, we can't stop them. Well, you can. I mean, with the Royal Navy destroyer, you shouldn't struggle too much. But
Well, I'm concerned about this. I really am, because I think a lot of people don't actually understand. I do feel that Palestine should have its own country, I do feel that the Palestinian people, and that's our fault. If you go back to the end of the Second World War, I wasn't around then, I'm well, but...
James, don't lie.
OK, but I think that had to be addressed. But the problem is you've got Hamas and other organisations that are terrorist organisations in there actually doing more harm to the Palestinian people than anybody else.
OK, so we have talked a little bit about Israel, but the question was about Suella Braverman and the dog incident. So, I mean, I don't mind that we've diverted off, but we do need to answer the question. Has Suella Braverman accidentally stepped on a dog? Is it true or is it false?
Well, I'd like to say it was false, but I actually think it's true.
It's absolutely true!
That was The Woke That Was, continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
PETA have accused parents of genocide for killing head lice in their children. Is it true or is it false?
The problem with these
People for the ethical treatment of animals.
Yeah,
that's the
not
one.
Pete
Like,
Barnes.
they are genuinely insane. They are genuinely
Yeah.
insane. Like, we think Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil are lunatics. The PETA people are mental. So this could very well be true, but I don't think this one is true. But when we talk about lice and things, has anybody been reading about this bed bugs problem?
No,
I don't want to creep
What
people
bed
out at
bugs?
home.
What do you
Well,
mean?
like in Paris, it's like a mass wave of them, and like people fearing it coming over here.
The
to London and
reality
everything.
is,
But
Pete,
yeah.
I'm sorry to say this. It's the fact that places are so overcrowded.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
We're getting all these outbreaks of this, that, and the other.
Yeah, but no, so that's been like freaking
Oh,
everybody out.
the problem is now. The problem is now. I just want to do that.
Yeah. But no,
I don't have that problem.
Well, you can scratch anywhere else.
The thing is, though, can't they just put the head lice into yogurts and things like that? Isn't that what the greenies want? Eat the bugs and all of
yeah,
that?
but no.
Well, actually, there's that thing now where you can put insect protein into food, can't you?
And say it's still vegetarian.
Oh.
Say it's protein powder. Yeah.
But anyway, head lice genocide, Pete.
I'm going to hazard a guess this one's false.
It's absolutely false.
Yay! Oh, glad about that one.
What are the scores? Woke Wabbit! So, OK, Woke Wabbit, should Suella be sacked for stepping on a dog?
Suella should be sacked for, well, stepping on the dog. That's
Yep.
animal cruelty. She should be sacked for her racist immigration policy.
Yeah, she's not a vegan as well. So
Nope, not a vegan. That's
all
why
right.
she
She's
should be
also
sacked.
she
Yep.
also self-defines as a woman.
And
That
it's
is-
a woman.
Yeah, is a woman.
I think we can not sack her just for that reason. I think we need more women in power. We need a female prime minister again.
It's been brilliant for equality, hasn't it? Having Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May and Liz Truss, because actually what that proves is your gender doesn't affect how good you are at being prime minister, because one was brilliant and the other two were crap.
Margaret Thatcher was the best prime minister we've ever had. Don't look at me like that in a stupid left-wing way.
What's the left wing
Look at me
look?
like
No,
that.
you tell James he's wrong.
She's a bit before my time, but I know that all my left-wing
Most is
friends hate
before
her.
your time, isn't
Well,
it?
Elizabeth I is before my time, but I still read books about her. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
Rabbits can't read.
Oh,
Rabbit.
okay.
Have you ever met a rabbit that can read?
No,
No.
but I've never met an Extinction Rebellion. So I think we're stretching credibility in general. So what is the score?
1,000 points for everyone.
1,000 points each.
Very egalitarian, isn't it?
Where did you get that from? Why did you want a rabbit on the show?
The University
I
of
don't think we
Exeter
will.
is offering a master's degree in magic. Now, Lois, do not make any comments about Magic Mike in answer to this question.
Or children's entertainment.
Yeah, indeed. Right,
Yeah,
let's not
okay.
do that.
All right. It wouldn't surprise. What's the name of the university again?
Well, it's Exeter University. It's good.
Exeter, which
It's
is
good
yes,
place.
it
one of the
is a
right-wing ones.
university. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I just, Paul Daniels magic sets, did you have one of those?
I did.
Yeah, I just can't imagine how they could make a degree out of my Paul Daniels magic
The
set.
one that makes me laugh is that Dynamo or whatever, and David Blaine. Oh, come on, he's just standing on his tiptoes.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing. How's he doing that? Tiptoes and a mirror, right?
I have a problem. I have to get help if a magician comes anywhere near me.
What?
Oh yeah, you don't like them, do you? I heard this.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard about this.
When I was trying to court my wife, we were at a do, and this magician came to the table, and I'm trying to chat her up, and said, "Would you like to see a trick?" And I said, "Well, it's very kind of you, not at the moment, no." But he just carried on doing it. So I said to him, because I know you can't say that, and then my wife and a couple of her friends who were there as well, she wasn't my wife then, got up, took this poor magician who was deflated away to another table and let him do loads of jokes on them.
Did his magic wand
Magic.
go?
Oh, well, I've got to be honest with you. My uncle was the first holder of the Lonsdale belt in the junior welterweight division in 1968. He was quite a famous boxer. The Times claimed that he'd met his first wife by going to a boarding house, and apparently the woman who owned it in Cardiff also did mystical readings of the future. And apparently she was off the particular day. She should have predicted that somebody was going to come round and ask for a
Well, maybe she did. Maybe why she went up.
So my uncle got the magic ball out and predicted, but he met this woman for the first time. He goes, "I believe you're going to meet an Irish boxer and marry him." And that was his chat line.
That's quite good, actually. That's quite good.
Apparently it actually works. He had the wig on and everything.
The problem is they all do the same tricks.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do them, I'm sure, but I had this real argument with one guy, and I had Uri Geller on the show.
Oh.
And Uri...
By the way, I'm just going to say one thing, James. Uri Geller sues everyone.
Yeah.
So let's just be careful.
Actually, I have to tell you about Uri. Ever since I've been ill,
Yeah.
every day Uri sends me a little message.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's lovely.
which is really nice. I've known him for a long, long, long time.
He's been around a long time.
Been
Yeah,
around nearly as
I
long
mean,
as
what
me.
makes me laugh about Uri Geller is he only knows 4 magic tricks, but he's really dived out on them.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to bend
Well,
the
here's-
spoon,
here's
Uri?
Here's the point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Uri was on my show, one of my shows, with a magician.
Yeah.
Now, Uri is not a magician.
No.
He isn't a magician. And so this guy, so I know how Uri does the bending of the spoons, I can show you.
Yeah.
And so I know that Uri isn't a magician. So I had brought into the studio 2 spoons from my house.
Yes.
So I gave one spoon to this guy and I said, right, okay, bend that. And he got very upset and whatever. And I gave the other one to Uri. And Uri rubbed it as well and it didn't bend.
Yeah.
And because my cohort Ash was with me on the show, I
Yes.
will tell you this, and put the spoon down on the desk, on its own, it bent.
Wow.
Now,
Amazing.
you tell me how that happened.
Well, I can't, but I suspect it wasn't the power of Uri's mind. But okay.
I
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Also, I've phoned him and said, look, my wife's watch isn't working, and she was complete. She said, that's ridiculous and rubbish. And it suddenly worked. Not only did the watch work, one on the wall started. So I don't know
okay,
how
so the
he
question
does
to
it.
James Whale is, can Uri Geller actually fix... No, I'm joking. But okay, what was the question? It was about...
I think it
About a
was my
master's
question.
degree.
It was
Yeah, it
actually
was.
your
Yeah,
question. It
yeah.
was actually your question. The question was, has the University of Exeter created a master's degree in magic? Is it true or is it false?
Oh, it's got to be true.
It's absolutely true!
Oh my God!
You can do a university degree in anything now, can't you?
Yeah.
You know, I
You
bet
can't do
there's-
a university degree in non-wokery.
Yeah.
No.
Can you not?
No, but so this is interesting about the actual course. It's to do with like it's magic and like folklore and occult stuff.
Oh,
It's,
I thought it was magic tricks.
No, it's
I thought
it's
it was
like,
Magic Mike.
No, but no, apparently the woman who runs the course has said it's all.
How am I supposed to know that Magic Mike was not a magic show at the casino, right?
You
that
know.
that was a bad night. That was a bad night. Phone's going. Well, I spent all my money on the tickets and nobody explained. Well, I mean, yeah, I did stay, but only for the first half. Okay, sorry.
I miss it. Sorry to be such an idiot, but what is this Magic Mike's?
Magic
It's
Mike.
men taking their clothes off.
Oh God.
It's Magic Mike on the phone. He says that he's a stripper.
I've never heard of
It's
him.
male strippers.
Yeah. Do you go often?
No.
Should there be a general election?
what we've got we have to live with.
But we elected Boris, then Liz came in, and then Rishi came in.
But Boris, but it doesn't mean to say he's going to be there 5 years. He could have died, or he could have been ill. But he was ill, wasn't he?
But he didn't die. I mean, politically he died. Are you a bit annoyed that we've got an unelected Prime Minister?
Very. Very annoyed. Not happy at all.
Which way would you vote if there was an election?
The Christian People's Alliance Party, whose rosette I'm wearing and of which I'm a member, and I did stand for them at the local elections in South Hertfordshire.
I know Christian People's Alliance, they are Christian kind of, but the nation is gone woke. So if you mention Jesus, they call you something else, they call you bigot. Anything truth, people don't want the truth these days, they like a lie. They like different narratives. Christian People's Alliance are the ones.
Should there be a general election?
Anytime you like, yep.
And will Labour win it?
By a street.
And is it good that we have an unelected government?
Well, we don't have an unelected government. We have an unelected Prime Minister, don't we? A succession of them. So that's not good, no.
I mean, the big advantage of Rishi Sunak being Prime Minister is that he won't conspire to bring down the government anymore.
No, well, the rest of his colleagues will conspire to do that anyway. He doesn't need to. They'll do it for him.
Are the Conservatives now just a shambles?
They're a complete shambles, and of course it's the country that's suffering as a result of it.
Good to see you, yeah. I'm really following you, Nigel, and Richard, and all the rest.
Listen, should there be a general election?
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's a trick question, isn't it?
I'm going back to Scotland, and if you don't like the government here, you want to see what it's like in Scotland. That's all I can say.
It's fair to say our viewers are not big fans of Nicola Sturgeon.
Is anybody?
Nicola Sturgeon is.
Yes, that's true.
I think her husband is as well.
No, that's not what I hear.
We just can't go any further with that. What are you looking forward to in a Rishi Sunak leadership, apart from the Roland Rat look?
Well, he stopped the fracking, so that's wrong. He should do fracking.
These people are intangible, aren't they? Yeah, they have no sort of backbone. They don't command any sort of respect or loyalty or anything. You know, you want somebody who's strong, a sort of, shouldn't say it, but a sort of Thatcherite type of figure.
There we go. We've got to give him a kiss.
Oh.
There we go. Should there be a general election?
Yes.
Why?
Just because people are not happy, and yes, I do believe.
It just feels sometimes that the government isn't listening to us at all. So are you just wasting your time standing here?
No, I do agree. I think we've got a set of politicians who are answerable only to the elites. They're not listening to us. Frankly, I don't think they care very much about us. Unless I think we do activate ourselves, I think then they'll listen because they don't have control anymore.
Why should there be a general election?
Because we've got an unelected Prime Minister.
So what will general election do? What benefit would it be?
Well, it would potentially bring in a new set of politicians who might be better.
How do you know they might be better?
I don't.
Well, they may not be better, they may be worse.
But
so we're from frying pan to fire.
Are you happy with Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister?
Wish he hadn't pointed Suella Braverman. I think it was an error of judgment. Otherwise, hopefully compromise will try and get some stable government again.
Are the Conservative Party now a joke?
They are a disparate group made up of different strands. I don't see how they can stay together for much longer.
Frankly, the political class that we have ended up with don't represent us. They don't act for us. They really, truly act for a higher group of elites, is what I think. But the answer, I think you were saying, is there any point of this? I think I've been over that in my mind. I think there is. We've got to activate ourselves, because I think the one thing these elitists don't like, or they can't handle, is when people like us start going out on the streets.
Are you worried about having an unelected government?
Well, not unelected government. The government was elected in, but the way they choose their leader is not fit for purpose today. And we feel that we've been left behind whilst the party suits itself and not the country.
Which way would you vote if there was a general election?
Not Tory.
Anyone but the Tories?
Yes.
What about Nigel Farage?
No.
What about Keir Starmer?
Nah.
What about the Liberal Democrat bloke, whoever it is this week?
Well, it's a bit rude to not say his name. He said Nigel Farage, but he don't see Liberal Democrat. That's a bit unfair. Come on, where's your empire?
I can't remember his name right now. It's Sir somebody or other.
Come on, you're the reporter.
I can't remember his name. Right, we're going to cut this. Can't do this anymore. I can't remember the Liberal Democrat leader's name. I've been defeated by a bald man in a backpack who was only here to show his daughters round Westminster. What a disaster.
That was The Woke That Was continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Would you be willing to go vegan to save the planet?
Not at all.
Why not?
'Cause I love my steak, I love my burgers, my chicken, my sausages, my pork chops, my bacon.
Do you not find that vegan food's a bit rubbish?
No.
Yeah.
Depends on what.
Vegan food's rubbish?
Yeah.
Does it also cause a problem with flatulence?
Oh, God, yeah, ask him. Stink.
really
Sorry.
I quite like Linda McCartney sausages if you wrap them in bacon.
I'm sure. I've never tried them myself, but I'll take your word for it.
Would you go vegan to save the planet?
No,
Is it because vegan food's crap?
not necessarily, but I'm allergic to mushrooms.
You're looking good for 64.
Thank you.
Do you think that's all the meat eating? It's kept you healthy?
No, probably not. Because I've had a heart bypass and I've got diabetes, so probably not, no.
Isn't there an argument, though, for continuing to eat meat just to offend Greta Thunberg?
How dare you?
I always like whitebait because it's the maximum number of kills per plate.
No, whitebait. You can't eat heads.
All this talk of veganism has made me hungry. There's a lot of people now talking about eating bugs as your source of protein. It's not something I'd do. Is it something you'd do?
Not unless I was on a plane crash out in the wilderness somewhere, maybe.
I want to interview you now.
Go for it.
What do you think of global warming?
I think that the Earth warms and cools itself in a natural rate. We should be anti-pollution, but we shouldn't get too over the top. And I think there is a degree of hysteria, which is similar to the Luddites in the Victorian period.
So,
Now, in the halls of residence, is vegan flatulence a problem? In my day, they used to burn joss sticks to get rid of the smell of cannabis. Nowadays, I'm convinced it's the personal hygiene of Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah, probably is that, to be honest.
Are you concerned that vegans will put you out of business as a fish seller?
No.
I think actually sometimes we need to be less shrill in the media and panic much less. I think I've just pulled a muscle. Can you give me a massage? There we go. What do you think of that? Manly. Oh, don't go higher. Don't go higher. As far as I'm concerned, the most important thing that every animal needs is a proper burial. And believe me, later tonight in the toilet, he's gonna get one, baby.
Sorry, I didn't know I speak English. We come from Germany.
Oh, we love Deutschland. Viva la Deutschland. That's not German, is it? Ich bin ein Television.
Yes.
Veganism.
I will see it, yes.
Helmut Kohl.
What?
Helmut Kohl.
I know understand.
Angela Merkel. This is my only German. Go on, have a chip. Have a chip. This is the taste of freedom. Here we go. Well done. I'll have a chip as well.
Oh, nice.
Would you go vegan to save the planet?
Yeah.
this has got to be popular.
Well, I'm fairly popular, but they're thinking of getting rid of me.
No, I wouldn't. I think you're doing an awesome job.
Yeah, but you don't know what this interview's supposed to be about.
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
We love TalkTV!
See, they're voting for us, they love us, they want to stay with us. This is TalkTV, yeah, baby.
Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Pete, there is a new app for right-wing shoppers where they can zap to check whether a product is woke or not. Is it true or is it false?
Well, I was sent this story a little while ago, so I actually know it to be true. It's an app called Veebs. And it's based out in America at the moment. And it's basically what you do is you scan the barcode and it pops up on your phone with saying how woke a company is, basically.
Wow.
And then actually, well, interestingly, it gives you alternatives. So if you don't want to buy like a product from a particular company, it'll say, but you can buy this one instead.
So I imagine you have to swipe extreme right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Tinder.
As I say, Lois, just do 4 of those a show. And
Yeah, give me 5. No,
Burning my keep, am I?
It is quite interesting, though. It's in a way, I think it's kind of like a reverse ESG score.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm kind of putting it down to that because there is a rise in what's known as corpsumerism, which, so I don't want to get too technical because this is the public affairs world, but
because we're thick.
No, because it's boring and I do it for a living. But
all right, well, if it's right. Look at
It is vaguely interesting.
look at my face, Pete. So you literally come on my show, right, on the Saturday night and go, I'm sorry to talk about this because it's boring. Get out of it. Get out of it. What are you doing to me? Doing to me.
So basically what it is people are becoming more aware of kind of the companies that they're giving money to and kind of, they're more aware of the products they're buying and services they're using. And I'm surprised it's taken this long for something like this kind of act to come out. I think it's still in its quite early stages from
I've got to be honest with you, Pete. I was amazed. I went on to. I'm the only person who lives in Sunningdale who gets Asda home deliveries. Right?
But you've not in Waitrose as you come out of the station.
I'm not going to Waitrose. I go to Asda. Right? Even though I'm one of the deplorables.
You take the boy out of the north. You can't take the north out of the boy.
But Asda was selling. Even I was tempted, Pete. 18 440 millilitre cans of Bud Light
I know,
for 10 quid.
Well, there's
18 cans for 10 quid. And they didn't sell out.
No.
55p a can.
About 50p a can.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so this is the thing, and it's a big debate now with big companies, is do they really get involved in this stuff? Is it worth it? And like, obviously Bud Light seems to have been an extreme, and I don't think people should be very careful about saying every company's got to go this way, but I do think companies are now a little bit more wary about really throwing themselves. Right. That's the thing. They're either throwing themselves into it properly, like Ben and Jerry's have done. I mean, I'm getting lectures on immigration policy from ice cream now, or they just stay out of it altogether. But I do feel sorry for some of these like kind of newer companies starting out saying, well, what do they do?
But of course, the funny thing is about Ben and Jerry's, it's owned by Unilever, which is deliberately constructed, so each of its products can have different values. And anyway, so Pete, is there an app for right-wingers so they can zap their food and check whether it's woke? Is it true or is it false?
It's true.
It's absolutely true. Okay, the final question is to Lois. There will be a shortage of Ferrero Rocher this Christmas due to poor hazelnut harvests in Turkey. Have you ever been to any ambassadors' receptions?
Do you know what? I've got such a good story about this. I was so desperate to go to an ambassador's reception, and I say, with this Ferrero Rocher, you are spoiling us. And I actually did get an opportunity. It was a really rubbish one. It was Belgium or something. But it was the Belgian ambassador's reception. And my friend and I were only 18 or 19. Don't ask why we were there. And we were drinking champagne, and I said, right, are you going to do it? I'm going to do it. And I went over and I did it, and it was very funny. But I only eat after 8s, actually. And if I'm feeling extremely naughty, I eat them at 7:30. I get very excited.
I think we need to ask why you were there.
I've got.
No, I wanted to eat Ferrero Rocher.
One Christmas when I worked at the House of Commons, I was invited to a brilliant embassy party, and the following year I was certain it was the Swedish embassy, so I decided to.
How drunk were you? You were certain it was the Swedish embassy.
Well, I went along. The year before it was all like sort of IKEA type place, but anyway, the following year it was in a different building, so I thought, well, they must have moved the embassy, and then. When I got in there, it was a different ambassador. I thought they must have had a new ambassador. And it was an entirely different event. and actually, it wasn't the big party I had. It was kids with candles on their heads singing. And so I went to Sweden. I meant to go to Denmark. It was the wrong country.
Did they have Ferrero Rocher?
No. It wasn't a very good party.
Can I just say I like Belgian chocolate before we get to...
Do you like pralines?
Do you like Ferrero Rocher?
I like Toblerone.
Oh, I do.
My favourite. Yeah. Toblerone is my favourite.
I love that.
Isn't the richest man in Europe the owner of Ferrero Rocher?
I don't know.
Mr. Ferrero.
No.
I'm not joking. No, his name is actually Mr. Ferrero.
Mr. Ferrero.
I don't mind the odd Ferrero Rocher.
I'm not
a big fan of them
I
either.
saw something on social media once where they showed lots of little tiny maggots inside the middle, and I haven't been able to eat one since, but it's probably competitive.
But I am addicted to chocolate, which is a very bad thing. I can't eat just one.
Well, I mean, look, you've been in media for 50 years. Of all the things to be addicted to, chocolate.
I think you're not doing too bad.
But I'll tell you what you're going to be jealous of, because I know what particular chocolate item you like. When I went to Ascot Racecourse, they had a Magnum stall for the ice cream where they dipped the Magnum in warm chocolate and put nuts and everything on it. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've been stopped eating Magnums for the moment, because I could eat 3, 4, 5 a day.
Yes.
They're nice.
And I have one Magnum. If they're in the freezer, I go and have another one.
Yes, that's right. Those packs of people say those packs of 5 are for 5 different days. That is not true.
No,
that is not true.
Is it right that Roger Moore invented the Magnum ice cream?
Isn't it true that Margaret Thatcher invented Mr. Whippy?
Mr. Whippy, but no, I'm pretty sure because Roger Moore was. The story goes that he was eating like a chalk ice, as they were back then, and then he said that we were complaining, so he put a stick in it, and somehow somebody saw this, and like whoever makes,
Is it like the Earl of Sandwich?
and that's a sandwich, and that's how the Magnum.
Sorry, I can't believe that. She said, is that like the way the Earl of Sandwich, what the Earl of Sandwich did? And you went, no, the Earl of Sandwich invented the sandwich. I mean, if you were to ask, what product did the Earl of Sandwich invent? I think most people, even those unfamiliar with the peerage, would probably be able to guess. Can you imagine? No, the Earl of Sandwich invented Ferrero Rocher on the stick. Oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
His phone that his dad's about to ring.
No, this hasn't been my best episode, I won't lie.
I can't believe that the level of analysis, the Earl of Sandwich did not invent the chalk ice. Well, there we go. What do you reckon? I'll tell you what, Pete, why don't we just ask you this? What did the Earl of Cardigan invent? Right. Come on, tell me.
Cardigans.
Well, yeah. So that's the way the theme developed. Right. What type of boot did the Duke of Wellington invent?
The Wellington boot.
The Wellington boot.
Earl Grey.
Right.
I know.
What type of headdress was invented at the Battle of Balaclava? Right. Do you see the theme developing, Pete? Do you see? Right. That's why it was Tom Selleck that invented the Magnum. But anyway.
Not the moustache.
Anyway, no. Right. Anyway, is there going to be a shortage of Ferrero Rocher this Christmas? Is it true or is it false?
With this Ferrero Rocher, you're spoiling us.
Shut up. Give me the answer.
True.
It's absolutely true. What are the final scores? Woke Wabbit! So, have you got any contribution to sandwich making?
No. What did Andre?
Sandwiches are delicious.
What did Andre Walker invent?
Yeah.
Andre Walker invented poor television on a Saturday night. Get out! Right, I'll tell you what, we're going to give this score to Lois. We're going to say that she won. The reason is because you have caused me lots of trouble, Whale, and you don't know invented the sandwich, the Earl of bloody sandwich!
Yeah,
Right. So congratulations to Lois, who has won that lovely sweater. And until next week, goodbye.